Growth Whisperers, where everything we talk about is building enduring great businesses. I'm Brad Giles, and I'm joined today, as always, by my co-host, Kevin Lawrence. G'day, Kevin. How are you doing today?
You know, Brad, I'm doing real well. Really looking forward to the show today. I've got lots of great energy. I was sharing before that I'm in India this week. I'm in India, although I'm doing it from Vancouver. I've got my clients in India that we're doing sessions that are starting at 7 p.m. and going till midnight or 1 a.m. my time every night. So it's this version of being jet lagged at home. It's work from home is one thing, but jet lagged at home is this whole other weird thing. It's actually a lot of fun. Great group to work with, but it's strange. I feel like a overnight shift worker, working late and getting up late. It's very strange. But yeah, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good. I definitely empathize with you. I've done quite a few speaking gigs to the US that kind of start at 2 a.m. or something like that. And in Australia, we're just about to switch over to daylight savings next week, which means we go from a 2-hour to a 3-hour time difference. So rather than quarterly workshops starting at 6:30 a.m. my time, they start at 5:30 a.m. So that's a little bit of jet lag there for me too. No, I'm pretty good. Everything is good at this end. So what have we got on the roster for today?
Well, we're talking about a really interesting topic. We're talking about ourselves. We're actually talking about today, how do you find a great coach for you and your company? And, as coaches, and, we have been called great coaches a few times in our careers. But we're going to talk about really, how do you find that right coach? And first of all, do you even want a coach? You might want something different than a coach, but, kind of seems like everything's called coaching these days and everyone's a coach. So how do you navigate through all that and find that right person or people to help you with what you're doing? So we're gonna dig into that and give you some of our expertise and what we found over the years of getting the right people to work with.
Because we've met some of the most interesting coaches. You and I first met many, many years ago through a coaching community, and there was a few hundred people in that. All who, with different flavors, different styles, but broadly a full-time committed coach community. And so, it's interesting. So let's begin perhaps. So what is a coach or advisor? What's the difference between a coach or advisor and maybe a mentor? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, and I like to look at it, as you sort of said, coach, an advisor / consultant, and mentor. Well, let's start with consultant. There are many people who call themselves coach who are really a consultant. And the consultant is someone you go to with a problem or a situation, and they give you data and or answers and recommendations. They could be an expert in a certain area, but they give you answers or solutions. Where a coach in its purest form gives you questions. Coaches don't so much give you the answers. They give you questions and help you with your thinking. They're a thought partner, where a consultant is an expert. A mentor is someone who's been there and done that and advises you. And again, each one is very powerful and has their place, but they're quite different. And even... Go ahead, Brad. Go ahead.
No. My interpretation would be pretty similar. I would say that a mentor tells you what to do. A consultant works on a fixed project.
Yes.
To your point, really solving a problem. They work on a fixed project. And then a coach asks the right questions to help you to get where you've got to go. Now, we do a lot of other work around that. And I suppose we have a framework that we use to guide people to come to the right solutions. I saw something the other day. It was one person who asked this same question, and they said, so if a coach is going to ask you questions, or don't look for a coach who is going to ask you questions. So it's got to be within that context of what how are they asking you questions? Because if you just sit down and do the 5 whys,
Yeah, it's not helpful.
why that it's called mirroring. There was a story I remember I heard, and it's about the big consulting firms, and apparently they get new graduates. Now it's probably not true, but look, let's just work with it.
Interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's called mirroring, and so they get the new graduates to go to the leader or whoever it is in the larger organization, and they just get them to ask why 5 times. So they say, so what's the problem that you're facing at the moment? And why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? And then they send them a large bill. So it's not coaching like that. It's not just asking the 5 whys.
Well, that doesn't really work. I mean, for the work that we do with CEOs and some executives, I mean, and the truth is, Brad, myself, I am a coach at heart, i.e. I did a lot of training on coaching skills and techniques. And I've accumulated an incredible amount of learning and knowing, both by being a professional student, a student of this game, and all the experience with my clients. So it's a blend. And I can go from 60 or 70% coach and, 30% consultant to I can go to 90% consultant, depending on the scenario. And everyone is different and the situations are different because we do know a lot and do share that. The key is that there is a notable percentage of coach, which is asking questions and helping you to find your answers versus telling you what to do. And that percentage varies. The thing that we see is a lot of people calling themselves coach don't even have 20 or 30% of the coaching approach. It's almost, 90, 100% on the consultant. And I think that's the distinction up front that we need to get clear on, is that, are you looking for a coach, someone to help you find your way through all this you're dealing with? And like us, you will use frameworks and things to help you. Or are you looking for someone to give you some answers?
And are those answers right for you? Sometimes they are. Yeah. Sometimes, look, we're navigating this new environment of COVID, or this new tech environment that we've got no core competencies in, and we need someone to come in and to help us who's got experience and done it before. That could be that could be the right scenario to bring in a consultant or even perhaps a mentor. But many of the A-type personalities that I work with and that I certainly have known over many, many years, they may not be as receptive to a mentor as one might first think. Someone coming in and telling them what to do might be great at the beginning, but after a while, it might wear a little bit thin because they think, but this is my business. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
And the thing is, how arrogant of anyone to step into a new business and tell people what the answer is, unless it's a very specific micro issue, like around a specific methodology or a specific framework. Like, for example, around the Net Promoter System, I've done a lot of work with a lot of clients, and we've spent a lot of money on consultants. I know that system like the back of my hand. And there will be times when I can look at something, ask a couple of questions, and give some pretty clear direction. I try not, because I have a deep understanding of it. I still need to understand the business. So, but yeah, that's why I think in a lot of cases, a lot of people in our field don't keep their clients for a long time because they have too much opinion and answer dispensing. And that's not what a lot of really successful people are happy to hear. They want perspectives. They don't necessarily want to be told what to do, or at least they know you have a deep, deep, deep understanding. But even then, telling people at the highest levels of leadership, telling people what to do is not that effective. And the same thing applies in this world that we're in coaching and advising people.
Yeah, I think who was it? I remember reading recently that the journey of leadership, you think that you get the corner office and you get the joy is the money and telling everyone what to do if you're the leader. But in actual fact, the journey is helping all of those around you to um, uh, reinvent themselves and become better leaders. So
Yes.
the actual journey isn't about the telling what people to do, and that's the people who are successful, um, people who have built great businesses. They even if you're a manager and not the CEO, you still don't necessarily want to be told what to do. You want to be helped to make the right decision.
Right. There's a great saying, a man or a woman convinced against their will is still of the same opinion.
Yeah.
So, and that's why in our space, so I will say, I want to make a call out to an amazing mentor that I had for many years. I haven't chatted with him in a while. His name is Joff Grona. He built a company called Caro Design, which became a large design firm, multi-aspect, from industrial design, branding, product design, and even print design. Awesome guy. But he's been my mentor since I was in my early 20s. And I tell you what, that guy would never give me an opinion. He always would ask me a question or bring out a framework. He was a mentor who actually was an outstanding coach. I need to reconnect with him. So the first question I think you got to ask yourself is, do I want a coach? Do I want someone to work with me to help me to get clear? Asking me questions, maybe providing me ideas here and there, but ultimately is facilitating conversations and thinking through frameworks so I can make my own decisions. That would be more of a coach. Consultant is someone to come in as an expert to give you answers or drive a project, do a project for you. Or a mentor is a highly experienced person, who's been there and done that, probably in your business or scenario that you can run stuff by. So that's a starting point. We're going to deal with the first one now, and both Brad and both of us have a lot of experience with bringing consultants into our clients or a part of those projects. Consultants are very valuable on specific things with specific disciplines, or getting specific answers, or in recruiting and finding great executives. There's things that consultants can do that are awesome. But that's not what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with this coach, which is this relationship you build with someone to help you to get clearer and become more effective as a leader, whether as a CEO, executive, or otherwise. Does that make sense there, Brad?
Yeah, I think so. They've got a great coach. I think has got a lot of experience and a lot of understanding, and they've seen it before. They've got great pattern recognition when you present a scenario, because they've either seen it or heard about it, or they've experienced it in some way before. They're kind of living in dog years, for want of a better term, spending all of their time at the leadership team level in strategic planning sessions or one-on-one CEO coaching. And that means that because that's all that you're doing all the time, it's not the once in a while type scenario. The CEO is only having a quarterly meeting once a quarter, but the coach is having a quarterly meeting maybe several times a week with different people.
Yeah.
So that pattern recognition builds up.
It is. And there's two things I want to draw a distinction. You're talking about, in our world, coaches as coaches, we have kind of two roles. One is coaching CEOs or senior execs one-on-one. Two is facilitating strategic planning sessions for companies, and we're looking at that from both different perspectives. So the one-on-one work and facilitating strategic planning, because we both do a lot of that kind of work. So to kind of go back to what you're saying is, there's always new people that are learning and growing, and that's awesome. I've got coaches on my team that have lots of experience, and coaches that are, in their first 5 years and still, learning lots. And they both have places where they can do great work. The key that we're talking about, especially for the substantial companies that are really successful, is you want to make sure, and kind of back to Malcolm Gladwell's thinking of 10,000 hours to master something. There's something there, and I think I'm probably close to 30 something thousand hours into this coaching thing, and it gets simpler and easier because you've been there, done that, and seen it so many times before. And for me, like even on a coaching call this morning with the CEO, he's explaining what's going on. And as I start digging and asking lots of questions. And I said, well, it looks like it's one or two things. And I said, does it seem like this? He's like, how about this? Yeah, it seems like that. Okay, cool. Let's keep digging. But having been in, and this is a CEO who just kind of bonked a little bit, lost their jam, was going into a bad mental headspace, and they were avoiding one thing. And it was either, is it because he's in a bad headspace, or is it, has he got some kryptonite going on and he needs to address this? Turns out it was a kryptonite issue, i.e. he had an issue that was kind of psychologically getting the best of him, and he just needed to get on top of it and push it ahead. So we're able to break it down. It was real simple, easy conversation. But that's for.
Go on. Well, that's where the questions come from. So if we're talking about something with a leader and we're beginning to detect, the hairs on the back of one's neck are beginning to sense, I've seen this before. You can ask questions as the right type of coach with the right type of experience.
Right. And not leading questions, right?
Not at all.
Truly discovery, curiosity questions, so you don't lead the witness down a road, which some newbies might do. Truly excavating to understand and really figure out what's going on.
Yeah, there's a saying I got from a guy who probably got it from someone else, a guy we both know called Cam Herald. And that was, your job is not to prove that you're right. Your job is to make them better. And in that kind of, I've had that sit with me for a very long time. You go into a meeting and you get into some fairly rigorous debate. Your job is not to prove that you're right, it's to make them better. And then you wind that all the way back to the kind of questions. You're like, okay, so what's the real sort of root of the problem here, and how do we get to that? What's the real issue here?
And that's a key phrase, root of the problem or core of the opportunity, right? But it's to simply get there. And what I found is that, people who are not really skilled coaches are often very directive and try and tell you or lead you. First of all, they're often wrong. But more than that, it doesn't feel great, and we're more likely to resist it than embrace it. That's part of the human psyche. So if we get back to the experience, so from my perspective, even for coaches that we bring onto our team, or coaches that when we recommend to other coaches that aren't on our team, one of the things we're looking for is experience in coaching, which is different than consulting. So what kind of coaching program have they taken? If they don't, some of them have just have a lot of experience over the years, and they typically are professional students, i.e. they're always studying the game. But have they taken coaching training? I get so many people asking me about being a coach. First thing I say is, well, you need to get some proper coaching training and see if you even still like it, right? Because some of them want to be teachers or answer dispensers, when coaching is a lot about asking questions and unraveling stuff. So a lot of learning and some specific training or methodology that they have in terms of coaching skills is a real important point. And again, as long as they've done it, there's so many different ways you can learn it. But that is a real big piece, and it's a foundational piece to have that kind of skill set.
But like, I think it was last week or the week before, we spoke about keeping it simple, right? The masters make something look simple. You go to a sporting event and the masters make it look simple, or you go to, I guess, to watch a play or maybe Cirque du Soleil, something like that. The masters make it look simple, and it's the same in what we do. And all of that, what appears simple and what appears to be getting to the right question or pulling out the right tool at the right time or whatever it is, it's born from years and years of experience. And I guess...
And doing it wrong and screwing it up.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of what experience is trying stuff and realize it doesn't work.
Yes, yeah, that's for sure. So, so what about the coachability? So, the question that we're talking to here is how to find the right coach or advisor for your business.
Yep.
There's an element which is here, which is, well, are you as a leader actually coachable? Um, and I think I think that it's that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be an A-type personality. That doesn't mean that um, you shouldn't push back and you shouldn't hold your opinion and hold your weight. But it is as simple as having an open mind, being
Yes.
able to say, well, what if what if there's another perspective? Am I open to that?
So as an example, I mean, coachability is a big thing, and we got to be able to look in the mirror on that. And that's why some people actually would prefer a consultant over a coach.
Yes.
And that's maybe a better choice if you're not coachable. So for example, I'll give you a key line about coachability. For this group we work with in India, we're doing 360s on all the key leaders in the company this quarter, and we're debriefing some of those this week with the key execs. There was a key line in one of the execs 360s, which is saying, this person asks questions, asks for my input, creates a great debate, and then includes that thinking in his decisions and the work he does.
Yeah.
And that's what it is you don't have to agree with everything. But if you're coachable, your brain is open to a new or different perspective such that your brain moves ahead and evolves. Basically, you get smarter with each interaction you have, or more capable. And it's one of the tests that I do when CEOs call to see if they're coachable. And
Yeah.
because if they're not, then they're going to waste their money. And neither of us is going to feel good about it. If they're, whether it's insecurity or really locked up in their way and their brain isn't open, yeah, it doesn't work. So
It
coachability is
it
key.
doesn't work. And maybe that's the first thing is trying to identify, are you coachable? And if you're not coachable, then go to the consultant. Maybe not the mentor, because you're
Or
definitely not going to
right,
work in that environment.
yeah, depending on the mentor. Some mentors just share advice, and you might benefit from it. But yeah, I think is, or maybe you don't. So I would flip it around even, and are you coachable? Do you believe that you're coachable and you really want and you're open to changing how you think and even how you operate as a leader? But can that coach you? So I've got a good friend who's a coach. I love him to death. When he tries to coach me, I want to backhand him. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
And there's just so more than anything, you should try a sample coaching session with them. And can they coach you? Can you feel that they're able to help you change your perspective or change something and have you move ahead? That would be, if we flip it around to evaluating a person, because I know, and Brad, we've had this experience. We've met lots of people who call themselves a coach. I actually try not to call myself a coach, because I feel that the name is tarnished by a bunch of these people who aren't professionals in the sense that we are. They are not committed in the way that we are. They are not obsessed with being an outstanding coach. They're just, whether they're filling a gap, they got fired from their job as an executive and I need to do something and feel, there's probably a nice
trying
way
to make
say
some
that.
dollars, maybe.
Trying to make some dollars. Yeah. And if you're just trying to make dollars, like that's a secondary outcome. You need to focus on really, truly, truly helping. So from my experience, can that person truly have an impact on you? Because, a lot of people I meet from the colleagues that we've met over the years, I've had some people try to coach me. I'm telling you, like a bunch of them, it doesn't go well. And part of it could be me, right? Part of it could be their skill set. Or it could be the combination of the two of us. No matter what, you got to find that person for whatever reason that they can help you to progress. And the person that's going to work for you might not work for me. So that's not only fit, as in you like the person, but you can feel how great stuff comes out of it.
But that's the sales process of a coach. It's a try before you buy. Let's meet for a few times,
Yeah.
and we'll see how we work together. I mean, surely any coach worth their salt. That's we're going to meet and we're going to talk about things and we're going to work through and we're going to really do some unpaid sessions. And if it feels right, then let's keep going.
I've got a couple of people that, recently I've been focused on taking on a couple more CEO only coaching and not doing the strategic planning and having my team do that. That's kind of a model I've been working with. So there's been a couple CEOs I've been talking to. One of them probably had 3-4 conversations with them. Some, when they're sent by a strong referral, especially on the strategic planning side, they might be ready to buy instantly. But on the one-on-one CEO coaching, sometimes people really, as they should, really want to get a sense and a feel of what it's like to really get it down. And in my perspective, I'm not in a rush. I'd rather have a whole bunch of conversations up front and either choose the right ones and not choose one that's not going to work for either. So you should have an experience of the person, and it should feel like good things come and progress comes from your sessions. Go ahead there, Brad.
Yeah. So I picked up on what you said there, is that you're not gonna, you're picking them as much as they're picking you. And that really speaks to what we just spoke about before, which is fit. So it's got to be a good fit both ways. It's not, it's as the leader who's looking to hire, like it's probably unlike many other engagements. Many other engagements, it's a case of, look, we just want to sell you our advertising services, or we want to sell you our internet storage service, or whatever it might be. And it's just a sale, a transaction. But in this environment, coaching and advising, it's there's got to be a fit both ways, because if it doesn't work both ways, it can't be a longer term engagement. It's just not going to work.
No, and it's a personal relationship. Like you're picking a partner. Yeah. It's almost like a silent partner in your business. And that's why we do a lot of work at our end. Like I am looking, do I like this person? Yeah. Do I believe in them? Do I want to see them being more successful? We know a lot of tools that can help people be more successful. Do I buy into, are they my kind of human? We're almost looking for a values fit. And can I become a great investment for them, or my firm or my team, a good investment versus just an expense? Like I only want to do it if it's going to work, which is, another thing to keep an eye out for. And, Brad, I don't know what you do in this regard, but for our clients, we don't have hard contracts. We have intentions. So some people get you to commit a year at a time. We don't. We want our work to stand for itself. We're not locking you into nothing. So we have a policy after the first 2 days. If we have a first kickoff meeting, if you're not happy, don't pay. No matter what. We don't want your money if you're not happy. And, most of our clients are kind of on an annual intention, but, we invoice clients quarterly. And so you're on a quarter of the time. There is no cancellation clause. There's no funny stuff. If you're not happy, this is not mutually beneficial. We shouldn't do it. Now, I also know, because we're obsessed with doing good work, and we pick the right clients, and we have great people who reach out to us. We have great clients contacting us all the time. Most of our clients will end up working with 3, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years. Like, we don't need a contract to make the transaction work. We need intentions and some parameters, but we don't need to lock them down, because, they're free to leave any time, but they generally don't want to. But that's
pretty much exactly the same. I look for commitment in the first 2 days, because I think that, like, I spend a lot of time to get to that first 2 days. And then from then it's all very much a handshake. And if you're not happy, like, let's talk about it and we'll wrap it up. Because I don't want to be working with someone where I'm not adding value. Like, I want to step out of that quicker than the CEO.
Why is that though, Brad? Why?
Because I want to build enduring great businesses. And if that's what, and if I can't do that, like, I don't want to engage with them.
enduring great businesses and enduring great relationships, right? And they go together. So that's, it's not that you're looking, oh, do they strap me into a contract, but just pay attention to that.
That really talks to one of the key points is, what do you want to get out of your business? Because if all that you want to get out of your business is be a passive investor for something that's going to spit out X 100,000 or $1 million a year, and you really don't want to be involved, then you've got to get a coach that's or an advisor that's going to be appropriate for that. And there may be many people for that. And we've got to acknowledge that we're speaking through this lens of building great businesses. Like, this is what we have been obsessed with for years and years and years, and have focused to try to master. We've really, over many, many years, tried to master this thing, which is building long-term, enduring, truly great businesses that stand out.
Right.
But if that's not what you want, then there are coaches that will be what you want, where they're just like, look, let's use some simple formulas, such as we'll increase the marketing leads, we'll increase the price, we'll just do some things that are appropriate for what you want. So important in terms of fit, it's what do you want from the business, and what is the coach passionate about?
Yeah. And if you want to just go buy businesses and flip them every 24 months, you don't really want to talk to us, because that's not,
no.
But there are people who have that kind of expertise and passion. So let's kind of rewind a little bit here. So do you want to coach, consultant, or mentor? Do you really want to coach is the first question. 2, are you coachable? i.e., are you willing to be coached and have your thinking challenged and to be pushed and to actually grow? And then 3, you're looking for, with coaches, both experience and fit. And in my book, I call them 14X advisors. Coaches that have been there and done that 14 times before. You're not their first rodeo. Now, they don't have to be an expert on your specific industry, but they've worked with lots of people like you at the stage that you're at. And so they have huge pattern recognition. They're bringing a lot of wisdom, which will result in simplicity. And then, so that's the experience. Then there's the fit. You'll work well with them. Be wary of people that just have a pleasing personality. Brad and I can be really nice and pleasing. And if you want a new best friend and you're going to pay someone to do that, that's your prerogative. But as a coach, you're looking for someone that can challenge you, and you're looking for that. You're looking for someone that really, you come out with better insights and ideally better execution of those insights from your conversation. So they're
not afraid to walk into the fire. They're not afraid to walk into conflict and risk saying the difficult things.
Yes, I've said to coaches, when coaches ask me, what does it take to be successful? I said, well, generally, 1 year of living expenses in cash is one of the most important ingredients. And they look at me sideways. What are you talking about? I said, well, you need to be willing to take risks and say what needs to be said with any client, because even though it might cause you to get fired, if you need the cash flow from the client, you will probably become a less effective coach, because you're going to play it safer. And that's, as I say to clients up front, we need to be able to fight like brothers or sisters. We need to be able to argue. You need to challenge me. I need to challenge you. We need to have it out, come to an agreement, whether we agree or agree to disagree, give each other a big hug at the end, laugh about it, and move on with a smile. It's very, but when coaches are desperate for cash, that's hard for them to do.
And what you said then is that the coach has got your best interests at heart, and they're prepared to risk upsetting you, because underlying that, they've got your best interests at heart.
Right. And if the coach is scarce, and there's nothing wrong with being motivated by money, it's a motivator, but you make different decisions. And regularly, I had a client that I worked with who turns out wasn't coachable enough. We got into the tough nitty gritty of his business. He wasn't willing to deal with some of these things. And that's his prerogative, right? For his own reasons, and he wasn't willing. And I finally said, look, you're not getting good value for what you're spending with me. This is an expense. It's not an investment. I don't see you getting any return here at all. And he acknowledged it, and I worked with him another quarter or so and helped him. But I finally said, man, you're an awesome guy. I really like you. But this is, one, it's not fun for me anymore. And two, nothing's changing, nor is it going to change. So you're better to spend not spend the money, or work with someone else that's notably less expensive. But it's not, but you need to be able to do that. And one of the things that we look at is that, we like to offer and let our clients know ways we can help, but we're not trying to sell them stuff. We're just trying to take care of them. And everyone on my team has that same philosophy. The right coach is trying to help you. If you need extra help, they'll find a way to do it. But they're not trying to load you up with this program and that program and just, and going.
I love finding consultants that I can bring into clients. I immediately an industrial relations lawyer that I actually haven't met, but he's just done great work and I trust him, and I can bring him in. And I love having people like that can help, that I know are going to help to build a great business. They're good partners.
Yes.
Because I can trust that they're going to do the right thing for the clients. I don't want to get into many of these areas. I've got no interest. I'm not an expert. I'm kind of in this very narrow field of mastery in this area that I'm pursuing. And I'm not trying to sell everything else to them. I've got no interest in it at all.
That's not what it's about. So what I'm going to say is so for you, what have you noticed are the ingredients you need to be able to do amazing work with a CEO? What are the things that you find, and this is Brad's version of it, which might be different than Kevin's and be different than Frank's or Jordan's or Sally's or Margarita's. Everyone's going to have different things. But what are the things for you that you find are critical ingredients you are looking for to get the right fit?
I think they've got to have the capability to be a level 5 leader or similar. Like they've got to, that's an underlying kind of thing. They've got to be, have the ability, because if I'm going to expend my energy with this organization, if there is an incompetent leader, it's just not going to work. But I'm not even talking about that. If there is a leader who is distracted or is low EQ or thinks that they're always going to be right, or a diminisher, from Liz Wiseman's book Multipliers, or so many other, they've got to have the capability. I think number one, they've got to have a burning desire.
Would desire be okay if they don't have the capability yet?
Yeah, there's obviously there's a spectrum there. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. So,
and to clarify, level 5 leader is in Jim Collins's work of someone who is very humble and has incredible will and drive to build a great company. So you're referring to the drive, but not the egotistical me narcissist type is kind of what you're getting at. Is that, not to put words in your mouth, but is that kind of there,
That's
Brad?
Exactly right. No, that's exactly right. They've got the EQ. They've got the capability to stand up and have people want to follow them on the journey. And that's really interesting, because do you want to follow this person? Because in one way, we are a part of the leadership team, and behind the morals and the ethics and the beliefs and everything of the CEO or the leader.
I love that question, Brad. I ask myself, would I follow them? Yeah. And I'm looking for people that I would follow and I'd be proud to follow. I'm not great at following, but people that I can stand behind and be proud to be working with. And what you're talking about, I look at it as called being driven and down to earth. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Is they might have their own plane. Yeah. But they're not talking about it and flashing it about. right? They might own expensive sports cars or whatever it happens to be, but they do that on the weekend. They're not showing up to work in their brand new Ferrari, or whatever or they might be big into racehorses. But again, they have their passions, but they're very humble and grounded at work, which makes people want to follow them.
And do you know the other thing? Would I be proud to introduce them to my other clients? Because a big part of the work that I do is building a community of great businesses that are becoming great. And so I regularly have events where I get all of the clients to come together. And you actually attended one of them in Sydney, you may remember.
I did. That was awesome.
Yeah. And so would I want them to come into that community of the clients?
Good. It's interesting because we have one client in the firm who's probably the smallest client in the firm. One of my associates work with, but I love this guy. He comes on to some of the calls we have with our CEOs. He brings great value, great passion. And even though he has one of the smaller businesses, he is an incredible person to have within our firm. But yeah, what I want, that's in my subconscious, Brad, but that's a great way to look at it. Okay. What else do you look for?
Well, do they have you touched on this one and I started, but do they have the desire to build a truly great business?
Yeah.
Are they going to do the difficult things? Because it's not an easy journey. I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of pain. I've got this one saying. So there's an island off Perth called Rottnest. It's about 22 kilometers. And so as you can imagine, we've got a great climate here. People will buy boats and it's a great pastime. Buy boats, go to the island, and there's a lot of fishing and stuff. So I have this saying, if the person says, look, what I really want is to get a bigger boat, then I'm not your guy. Like that's...
there is a coach for that. There is a coach and a consultant for that. Yeah.
But do they want to do the difficult things to build an enduring great business? It's difficult. It's definitely not easy. There's a lot of pain along the way. But if they really, truly want to do that, that's definitely something for me. I guess another one is, are they a learner?
Yes. But if you are willing to build an enduring great business, you would by nature be a learner. Brad, that's almost like the tip of the arrow. If you're really committed to being great, a bunch of other stuff falls into place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Go ahead.
I disagree with that last point that you made before that. I've met people because I use these criteria, these filters, these things, and I can't help but disagree a little bit, because I've met people who want to build an enduring great business, and I kind of begin to talk to them about, so tell me about the books that you've read or listened to, or tell me about how you sort of sharpen the saw, as it were, how you stay abreast of, or you become a better leader, and they just look at me blank, like, nah, not really. Nah.
Interesting, because I have not had that experience. But maybe I've got selection bias, because of the people that I work with, all are serious learners. Now, what I forget is they might not have been when we started, and lots of my clients have been working with for a lot of years. In my world, if you're not willing to be a learner, it's off the table. Like, you need to be willing to be a learner, and a lot of them are. Yeah, but I have shaped a few of them to be learners, and many of them already were. And you know what it is, Brad? For a lot of the clients that I worked with, they had already built a version of an enduring great business. Many of the clients I've worked with are already, 20, 30, 50, 80, 100 million. And you need to be a pretty keen learner to get to there. But I'm with you, the criteria. So if we just kind of summarize this, is that they want to build an enduring great business. They're a level 5 or aspire to be a level 5 type leader, like Collins, where they have incredible drive to build a great business.
Even if they don't know it.
Exactly. But they're humble.
Mm.
They're generally good people that you would feel good introducing other people to. No arrogant jerks. Um,
And what
yeah,
about yourself
and
then?
yeah, I would say they're very similar, Brad. I mean, again, you and I are very much in a similar frequency, but it's they are committed to building a great business, and they're down to earth. I would, the way I would call it, driven and down to earth. And they really care about their people. Like, they want to do right by their people. They want to build, as part of that enduring great business, they want to build a good culture, and um, they want to do right by their people and invest in their people, because they believe that people are a big portion of the answer. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I spend a lot of time with them up front to really make sure it's the right fit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I can be, for myself, it's going to be interesting and challenging for me, because I like to continue to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And there needs to be something about it. And I guess that goes into the fact that I really always want growing companies, because
Hmm.
your growing companies, it's okay if they've sputtered out and hit a plateau, but they want to keep going, because
Yeah.
growth is interesting and engaging, and it also makes it easier for them to get a good return on investment for what we do. But the growth is a piece, and that's because if they want to build an enduring great business but not grow the business, I'm not interested, for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, we want to improve the business,
Yes.
improve the margins, improve the top line, um, and not just for the sake of it, but to build a better business.
Yeah, and create
Yeah.
opportunities for the people. So yeah, but very similar. But the growth is a key piece. Um, but but there's growth for me. I need to learn and grow from it. There needs to be something about it that because that's part of how I get paid. I get
Yeah.
paid currency. I get paid from the intrinsic reward of seeing and being a part of their growth.
Yeah.
But I also get paid with my own learning and growth, because I have responsibility to learn for myself, but for my other clients too. So there should be it should make me better. And whether that's because it's challenging or because there's new learning within it is what I look for. And that keeps it engaging for me. So interesting stuff. I think at the root of it, and if we're to kind of sum up today, is that, you got to know what you're looking for. And if you feel like you're making great progress, and this coach or mentor or advisor, whatever, is helping you to be a better version of you, and you can feel the layers, there, and getting stronger and growing, awesome. Be wary of the people that take you off on a wild goose chase off in weird directions. And that's why we like to go back to the strategic plan for the firm. They should be helping you to advance the goals of the company and
Yeah.
moving ahead, and not taking you off to la la land. And and you might want to go and do spiritual retreats, and you might want to explore all kinds of stuff, but it should always be in context of achieving what you want to achieve in your life, and
Yes.
in terms of growing your business. And I think that's a real important piece just to keep an eye on.
So, top three kind of things from today. We spoke about the difference between a coach, a mentor, and a consultant. Consultant is
Yep.
a time-based, project-based activity. Mentor tells you what to do. Coach asks the right questions in the context of your broader journey. We spoke about the fit and the experience of a coach when you're looking to hire a coach. We spoke about this concept that you've got called 14X. In other words, like any advisor, like anybody in your leadership team as well, anyone in the business, you want to find someone who is going to multiply your capability and your effectiveness. And a coach or advisor should drop straight into that as well. Is this person going to make you a better version of yourself on a factor of 14 or whatever it might be? Certainly significantly better. And then I guess commitment to be professional. And how many long-term clients does this coach or advisor have? Do they turn their clients every year, or have they had clients for 5 or 10 or more years? And why is that? And how committed are they? Is this just their part-time gig? Or are they, not that there's anything wrong with being part-time necessarily, or are they committed to mastering? Because if you're trying to build a truly great business, is the coach or advisor trying to build the best coaching business or the best possible version of what they do? So if you're committed to mastery, is the coach also committed to mastery? So I think that's kind of the three areas. Anything to add to that?
No, it's a great summary, Brad. And I'm noticing that we're past time and I need to be on another call. So I need to wrap up real fast. So, hey, everyone, thanks for listening. This has been the Growth Whisperers podcast. I'm Kevin Lawrence, and I'm here with my good friend, Brad. To reach Brad, evolutionpartners.com.au, and for myself, lawrenceandco.com. So good luck finding that right advisor or even enhancing that relationship you have with your existing advisor. We'll see you next week. All the best.
See ya.